Nearly 3 years after breaking the world record for fastest platinum on Godfather II.
There it is. One more. Boom! At 9 hours, 13 minutes, and 42 seconds, I have achieved a platinum Godfather II trophy. And there it is. That's honestly, that's pretty cool. I can't lie to you. That's cool.
It's time to go back in time, specifically to the year 2006, and platinum, or in this case 100%, in my opinion, one of the greatest games of all time, Godfather, the game. As I mentioned, Godfather released in 2006 and tried to follow the same mapping as some of the other third-person open-world shooters that came out around the same time, such as GTA Vice City and San Andreas. And I personally, no bias here, believe that Godfather held its own, but we'll get to that later. Nonetheless, Godfather did release on the PlayStation. However, given its age, it was released on the PlayStation before trophies were even a thing. Though I will be attempting to get all the achievements on the Xbox 360, well, as many achievements as possible. And I say as many as possible as Godfather has 2 DLCs, one of which is still playable and the other of which has been completely delisted from the Microsoft Store, and the only way it is able to be played is if you have an Xbox 360 in which the DLC was bought. Fortunately, I do not, so this will be a fake 100%. However, this game is a classic, so just going back and getting the 48 attainable achievements will be more than enough. So without further ado, let's get into the first and only achievement hunting video on YouTube for the Godfather game. Godfather the game begins in the year 1936 in New York City's Little Italy, and we first follow a member of the Corleone crime family who, after giving the Don his week's take, he meets up with his wife and they both get caught in the crossfire, no pun intended, of a racket bombing from the rival Barzini crime family. Realizing that the couple's son was playing in the alley next to the bakery, the man rushes into the alley where he is jumped by a couple of Barzinis. And here is where we are introduced to the game's combat system. And after taking out a few mobsters, Emilio Barzini, the Don of the family, appears from the shadows with 2 mobsters with Tommy guns and finishes the job whacking Johnny. We then see the man's son, who was not actually in the alley, and he's the first to find his bullet-ridden father laying dead in the alley. However, Don Corleone comes to comfort the child and tells him to save his anger for when he's old enough to take revenge. The opening cutscene then ends and we jump right into the character customization. It turns out that we were actually the kid, and that is who we will play throughout the story. And after customizing our character, the first mission, called The Price of Loyalty, which begins on the day of Don Corleone's daughter's wedding, 9 years after we saw our father dead in the alley, begins. And I should mention that while our character is not based on someone in the movie, every mission kind of depicts scenes that actually do take place in the movie. At the wedding, the woman who we saw in the opening cutscene, our mother, approaches the Don to see if he could look out for us and to potentially give us some work as we fallen into a bad crowd. After this, the Don asks Luca Brasi, his most loyal enforcer, to find me, and he does. Not in the best state, however, as I'm being jumped in an alley, and after using a pipe to smash someone's face in, Luca helps me up and the second mission, called The Alley, begins. Like most games, the first few missions act as training missions or tutorials that will help us learn mechanics that are present throughout the remainder of the game. This mission specifically takes us through combat, which includes quick attacks, power attacks, grabs, jabs, hooks, and combos, and after finishing my attackers, I learned how to navigate the minimap and make my way to a safe house. Safe houses would end up being important not only for saving and getting away from heat or rival gangs, but also for an achievement for buying and owning all 25. And after saving my game at the safe house, I completed the first mission. Next, I met up with Luca outside, which started the next training mission, called The Enforcer. This training mission would end up being the most important, as here I would learn the ins and outs of extorting rackets and fronts. In short, the game features around 50 rackets and businesses in total, and in order to secure a business, you must intimidate the owner to pay a portion of his or her earnings to the Don for protection. And after successfully intimidating the owner, typically a back door leading to a racket such as a bar or a poker game will be unlocked, and you'd again have to intimidate that owner to pay up. After doing both both of these things, the building would now be yours. Typically, the building would be filled with rival mobsters inside and out, which makes things difficult. Nonetheless, my first attempt at taking over a business came at the expense of Emilio's butchery, and after getting him to crack and pay up, a door to an illegal gambling ring opens up, and after taking out some Tattaglias who were guarding the place, I made the owner of the gambling ring pay up, and I took over my first business and racket. Eventually, I'd have to take over all businesses and rackets to get an achievement. Also, in each racket, there would be a safe that I'd have to blow up, and again, blowing up all safes would earn me an achievement down the line. After returning to Luca with a cut of my earnings, he told me to meet up with a man named Polygato, where the mission ended. Next, I made my way to Polly, where the mission called A Grave Situation began. Here, I'm introduced to two important characters in the story, Monk and, of course, Polly. After introducing themselves, they informed me that an Undertaker's daughter got beat up by a couple of guys. So now we had to return the favor and show the punks a lesson. This acted as another training mission as I learned the advanced combat system, which included swinging, dragging, and throwing enemies. And like the name of the mission, this was definitely a grave situation for one of the punks, and after the cutscene ended, so did the mission. Before meeting up with Luca again to start the next mission, I wanted to finally earn an achievement, that being Assassin, which required me to earn 5 of the 22 execution styles, and after going around and killing a couple of Tattaglias, I got the achievement. I should mention that I have played the Godfather the game before back in 2014, hence why there was no trophy pop here. After this, I met up with Luca again to begin the mission Sleeping with the Fishes, and like all the previous missions, this was also a training mission, but instead of learning hand-to-hand combat, I learned how to shoot, and after shooting some dummies, Luca told me that I needed to drive him to a bar in Midtown as he has something to do for the Dawn and that we are the only ones that know of it. So after racing to the bar, Luca tells me to keep watch on a meeting with Bruno Tattaglia and Sollozzo, both higher-ups in the Tattaglias, through a window in an alley. He also mentions that if anything goes wrong, to find Monk. And of course, things went wrong.
Grazie.
No, Luca! Now that Luca was dead, I had to exact my revenge, so I entered the bar, killed Luca's assassin, and raced back to Little Italy, where I called Monk, who told me to meet him at a bar, concluding the mission. While waiting to meet up with the Monk, I decided to extort a couple of businesses and rackets before heading to the barbershop. Once it was time, I made it to the barbershop, where the mission called The Dawn is Dead began. And surely the name of this mission wasn't foreshadowing anything, right? It turns out that the barbershop seemed to be the location of a family reunion, as not only here I met up with the Monk, but his sister Frankie and Don Corleone and his son Fredo, who were also outside of the shop. And this was the perfect time and location for the Tattaglias to make their second attack. And after informing Monk about Luca, a car with a few Tattaglias rolled up and opened fire on the barbershop. No! Oh my god! The barber! Monk! The Don! Fredo!
I'm calling the ambulance, Monk.
No.
You'll be all right.
Frankie, my sister, she's out there. Make sure she's okay.
No! After killing the attackers and saving Frankie, I took a car and protected the ambulance from more Tattaglia attackers. But for some reason, the ambulance took the longest and dumbest route to the hospital, which made things a bit difficult. Eventually, we made our way onto the Manhattan Bridge, where the ambulance hit a Tattaglia roadblock, and after interrogating the Capo, we learned that Sollozzo had taken Tom Hagen, Corleone consigliere, to an old diner. Now I had to turn all the way around and go to the hospital in Little Italy. Why couldn't we just go there in the first place? Once I got to the hospital, before the Don's health depleted, I met up with the Don's 2 sons, Fredo and Sonny, as well as Clemenza, Corleone Capo, where I told them about Hagen, concluding the mission. Before continuing on with the main story, I decided to clean up Little Italy. So for the next 30 minutes, I went around Little Italy, extorting businesses and rackets, which earned 2 achievements: Enforcer for taking over 5 rackets, and Earner for extorting 10 businesses. After this, I made my way to Brooklyn, where I met up with Clemenza at his house to begin the mission Tom is still missing. Here, I got in a car with Rocco and Clemenza, where we drove to a diner. Once at the diner, we had to sneak past the guards. While this technically wasn't a training mission, this mission did introduce stealth mechanics such as strangulation and crouching. Once getting behind the diner, we spot Tom talking to Sollozzo, where Sollozzo sends Tom to the docks to get whacked. So Rocco, Clemenza, and I rushed to the docks, taking Sollozzo's guards out and getting to Tom before he's killed. Once rescuing him, I drive back to the Corleone compound where the mission ends, and I rank up to respect level 10 and earn the achievement for a sign of respect. After talking to Tom inside the compound, I talked to Tessio, who told me about hits. These were side missions that required me to kill a specific person in a certain way. I would have to complete all 14 hits in order to get an achievement down the line. I also talked to Sonny, who told me about racket trucks. These were infinitely spawning trucks around the map that after stopping I could steal and then take back to one of my businesses for money. And again, these trucks would also be related to an achievement. After leaving the compound, I completed my first hit and then talked to Clemenza, who told me to visit the Don at the hospital, which started the mission called Intensive Care. And once I entered the hospital, I could tell something was up. The hospital was deserted as Tessio's men were all sent away and only a few guards remained. However, I had some sort of backup as Monk's sister Jackie and the Don's son Michael showed up. After checking in with the security guard, I gave him my weapons, bad decision, and made my way to Monk's room when all of a sudden a Tattaglia assassin tried to finish Monk off once and for all. After stopping him, I run into Michael, who told us that men were coming to kill the Don. So now I needed to get Jackie out of the hospital safely, and after navigating each floor, taking out Tattaglias along the way, we made it to the garage where Jackie was able to escape the hospital. Now I had to find Michael, and after getting to the entrance, we got detained and beat up by some crooked cops, but thankfully Tom came to our rescue and got us out of there, ending the mission. Next, I met up with Clemenza, who informed me of a big party that a lot of important people would be attending. So after making my way to Rosa's party, the mission called Fireworks began. After talking to Sonny, Paulie, and Monk, the party got busted, and I was pressed by the same cop who beat us up outside of the hospital. After Monk and I got beat up, the cop took Rosa. And I took this personally, and I was not going to let it slide. So after taking out and bribing a few cops guarding the party, I made my way to an alley, again taking out cops along the way until I made it to a warehouse where I saved Rosa and followed the police sergeant to the roof. But I couldn't just whack him. I had to make it look like an accident. So of course, I grabbed a hold of him and threw him off the roof. Oh, that's Aura.
He was drunk. He fell. It was an accident.
Oh yeah, it was. What you trying to do, Rosa? Next, Rosa informed me that I was needed back at the compound, but before leaving there, I stopped at the hospital as the Don needed me to do a favor for him. Favors are another type of side missions. And again, I would need to complete all favors in order to get an achievement. The Don tells me that I needed to travel to a police retirement party and bribe the chief to get him on the Corleone side. So after making it to the party, I found the man who the Don described and bribed him, completing the favor. Once getting back to the compound, I walked in on Tom and Sonny in an argument over the shooting of the Don. Sonny wanted payback, while Tom wanted to keep things calm. After their argument, Tom informs me that because of my hard work, I had been promoted to associate in the family. Before starting the next mission, I completed a few hits and favors and even delivered some trucks. Now that I got those things out of the way, I met up with Clemenza at his house in Brooklyn as he found out who set up the hit on the Don, beginning the mission called Death to the Traitor. In the following cutscene, we find out that it was Paulie who set up the hit on the Don, but we first had to make him think that we weren't suspicious of him. So instead of whacking him right away, we made a few errands. The first was a bakery to pick up a cannoli for Clemenza's wife, and while Paulie picked up the cannoli, I headed upstairs to pick up the weapons and dynamite. After this, we made our way to a Tattaglia bar where we rushed in and bombed it. I also collected some money on my way out. Our next destination was a shipyard. Now it was time to whack Paulie. After getting the signal from Clemenza, I pulled out the gun and Paulie made a run for it, and he did a good job of aiding, blowing up barrels and crates, stopping me in my tracks. But eventually I caught up and finished him for good. Oh my god.
You fucking hurt, you idiot.
That's a crazy execution. Now it was time to get out of there, but when Rocco came to pick us up, he also brought us the cops, and now we had to escape. My first attempt at escaping did not go well. But on my second attempt, we made it to Paulie's apartment, escaping from the cops and concluding the mission. After this, I blew up my 10th safe to get my first Godfather achievement in over 11 years. Yes, petty theft. I think that's for getting 10 safes. Next, I went for another achievement, which was to buy an upgraded weapon, and after purchasing it, I got another achievement.
Powerful as it.
Excellent. I'll take it.
Arms dealer. After this, I went to secure my first warehouse. Warehouses are a bit tougher to flip as they are heavily guarded with many more enemies. But after getting past all the enemies, I intimidated the boss and flipped the warehouse. After taking down all of the warehouses in the game, I would get an achievement, but we'll get to that later. After this, I went around Little Italy, clearing out more rackets, and I also bought my first safe house, which got me another achievement called Real Estate Investor. Continuing to flip more businesses and rackets, I flipped another warehouse, which gave the Corleones full control of Little Italy, netting me the achievement Neighborhood Control for taking over a neighborhood. And after finally extorting all businesses and warehouses in Little Italy, I reached Respect level 20 and got the achievement Gaining Respect. Now it was time to continue the main story. After meeting up with Clemenza outside a warehouse in Midtown, the mission called Special Delivery began. After realizing that Sollozzo had begun exploiting the chaos within the Corleone family by starting up a drug smuggling operation in Midtown, Clemenza drew up a plan to blow up their warehouse. So first I had to steal a racket truck, and after infiltrating the warehouse using the truck, Clemenza, Monk, and I bombed all 3 buildings in the drug warehouse, concluding the mission. This mission was a bit of a tutorial in a sense. After this mission, there were now multiple drug fronts that could be bombed, so that's what I did next. And after bombing each of the 4 new drug warehouses, I got my next achievement. I'm gonna go. Oh, I did it. No more narcotics. That's for doing all of the drug bombings or bombing all of the drug fronts. Once I was done with bombing the drug rackets, I began the mission called Horseplay. To give some context, Jack Woltz, a movie director, is blackballing the Don's godson and famous singer Johnny Fontaine. Now it was up to Tom, Rocco, and me to stop Woltz's blackballing. So Rocco and I were sent out to Hollywood to infiltrate Woltz's residence after Tom couldn't get Woltz to agree to put Fontaine in one of his films. And I can't lie, this was one of the best missions in the game. Now it was time to make our way to Woltz's stables, and once getting past the guards, Rocco went in to secure the package. And by package, I mean a literal horse head. That's crazy. Here's the head. Next, I had to escort Rocco and the horse head to Woltz's room, where Woltz was in for a big surprise when he woke up. Classic. After getting back home to New York, I was informed that Tom wanted to speak to me, and once meeting up with Tom, he informed me that the Don had gifted Jackie and I an apartment, and to meet him back at the compound. But before that, I decided to flip all of the Tattaglias businesses and rackets in Hell's Kitchen, which only left the remaining Tattaglia rackets in Midtown and Brooklyn. But after, I returned to the compound, where I began the mission called A Recipe for Revenge. Here, we learned that Sollozzo and his dirty cop Mikulski have called a meeting. But little did they know the Corleones were preparing to infiltrate. Before heading to the meeting with Michael, Sonny and the rest of the guys walk us through the plan. That plan having me plant a gun behind a toilet so that Michael could then assassinate the cop and Sollozzo. So I had to race to the restaurant, get past the guards, and plant the gun before Sollozzo got there. And once I planted the gun, it was time to enact revenge.
I have to go to the bathroom. Is that all right?
You gotta go, you gotta go. I frished him. He's clean.
Don't take too long.
Oh. Double tapped him. Time to go. Now it was time to get Michael out of there safely, but instead of returning to the compound, we needed to drop him off at the docks as the Don was sending him to Sicily for his own safety, and after saying our goodbyes, the mission ended. After this, I met up with Tom and the Don, where I was promoted to soldier, and because I was now a soldier, I could now recruit crew members to help me with my ventures around the city. And after recruiting a crew member, I got the achievement called Bodyguard. I could have actually hired a crew member after becoming an associate, but I ultimately decided to wait until now. Next, I made my way to mine and Jackie's apartment to begin the mission called Now It's Personal, and after entering the room, things got steamy, but then all of a sudden, some Tattaglias rolled up on us and took Frankie hostage. After taking out some of the mobsters, I interrogated one who told me that Frankie had been taken to a church, so after calling Monk to tell him what happened, I picked him up and we drove to the church. And once getting there, we took out the Tattaglias guarding the church, and once we got past them, this happened. Oh no. Oh no, Frankie.
Ah, there you are.
No.
Frank! Oh, God.
No,
I got you now, honey.
Frankie.
Come. Don't let go.
No. He's dead. They killed Frankie.
Frankie!
They killed her. We'll get him back. We'll get him back. Remember how the mission was called Now It's Personal? Well, now it was indeed personal. Since Jackie was dead, I got my revenge on the Tattaglias by taking out the remaining rackets in Brooklyn. While doing this, I encountered a prize fight, and after winning the fight, I got my next achievement. Boom! Knockout King. Now I just need to win all the prize fights. I mean, if I beat 2, I should be able to do the other ones now. There were 5 prize fights in total, so I would have to win all 5 to get an achievement. While flipping the fronts, I encountered a couple racket trucks, and after stealing the last of the 10 required, I got an achievement. It was smuggler. That's for delivering 10 trucks. After flipping all the fronts in Brooklyn, it was time to start clearing out the remaining fronts in Midtown. But on my way, I noticed that there was a bank robbery in progress in Little Italy. So of course, I had to take advantage. And after not only robbing the Tattaglias and the bank in Little Italy, I returned the money to my safe house and got an achievement. Yeah. Forced entry. That's kind of random. It was like an RNG type of thing where another crime family was already robbing a bank, so I kind of just robbed it for them. But before flipping the remaining Tattaglia fronts in Midtown, I began the next mission called the Silent Witness. Upon starting the mission, we learned that Bruno Tattaglia killed Frankie and has now gone into hiding. So Sonny managed to wrangle up a Tattaglia Capo, and now it was my turn to interrogate him. However, the Capo would not squeal, so Sonny decided to kill him. But this was all part of the plan. Because the Capo was a higher up, Sonny knew that killing him would pull Bruno out of hiding for his funeral. So now I had to infiltrate the funeral home and take Bruno out once and for all. But this would be easier said than done, as of course the funeral home was filled with guards, but after getting past them, I confronted Bruno. But I couldn't just whack him, I had to throw him in the oven. So after killing his bodyguards, I finished Bruno once and for all. Now that Bruno is dead and all of his fronts were now in my control, it's time to take over his compound. This was similar to the warehouses in terms of the amount of enemies, but I enjoyed the challenge. After getting past the initial guards outside, I killed the remaining guards on the interior and blew up the first building, which for some reason counted as a business and earned me the achievement Demolitions Expert. After this, I did the same thing to the other building and fully eliminated the Tattaglia family and destroyed their compound once and for all. And by destroying their compound, I took control of Brooklyn. While this didn't give me an achievement here, I would actually get an achievement after destroying all compounds, but of course we'll get to that later. Next, I met up with Sonny in Midtown to begin the mission called Sonny's War, and once getting to the apartment, I again found Tom and Sonny arguing. Sonny was bloodthirsty while Tom wanted to negotiate peace with the remaining families. After getting outside, I talked to Sonny, who tells me that the Cugnos pulled a hit on 2 Corleones and that Sonny wanted to get revenge by shooting up one of their bars in Hell's Kitchen. However, that wasn't enough, as once killing some Cugnos in the bar, we interrogated one of their men to tell us who was supplying them, and while doing this, the supplier conveniently made a run for it. So Sonny and I chased him, and after once catching up, we proceeded to interrogate him into telling us where the Cugno gun supplier was located. So of course we traveled to the gun supply warehouse next, and after killing some more Cugnos, we found the supplier, and after confronting him and getting him to supply us instead, the mission concluded. After this, I flipped a few Cugno fronts, which got me to level 30, earning me the achievement called Making an Impression. Next, I traveled back to the compound to begin the 16th mission called Change of Plans. The mission begins after talking to Sonny, who tells us he has plans to rob a bank in the Bronx, but this conversation was interrupted by a phone call. After this, the cutscene ends and Sonny storms off for an unknown reason. Now I'm tasked with following his car. After following him for a while, we end up stopped at a toll booth. And something seemed fishy. And something was indeed up, as Sonny gets lit up by a member of every crime family. No, Sonny! Oh my god. Is that all the families? That's crazy. Now I had to track the assassins, which led me to a warehouse where I found the toll booth worker and interrogated him. He told me that the men who called the hit were at a club, so of course I headed there next. But I couldn't let the toll worker off that easy. Once getting to the club, I found and interrogated a Tattaglia underboss who told me that it was actually Don Barzini who ordered the hit. So after finishing off the underboss, I needed to race back to the compound. But first, outside of the club, I spotted a police chief, and after bribing him, I got the achievement called Negotiator. After getting back to the compound, I overhear Tom informing Don Corleone of the bad news, to which he calls to arrange a meeting with all heads of the 5 families to end the war. And in the following cutscene, we see why Don Corleone is the GOAT.
And that
I do not forgive. But that aside, let me say that I swear on the souls of my grandchildren that I will not be the one to break the peace that we've made here today.
Oh, he killed my dad. And before heading to the start of the next main mission, I decided to win the remaining prize fights. And these were easier said than done. My God. Maybe I need to up my fighting skill. Come on. Come on. Yes. Oh my God. F off. I don't care. I had to. Oh my God. Here's the final prize fight, I believe. I can't dodge. Come on. Yes. Heavyweight champ. That's for completing all prize fights. Next, I went for an achievement I had been working on throughout my entire playthrough called Executioner. This one required me to kill an enemy using all 22 execution styles, and after getting a tire iron kneeling execution, I got the achievement. Is this it? Oh my God. Yes, Executioner. That is for doing all execution styles. I mean, it actually wasn't horrible. A lot of them came with, you know, playing, kind of like Godfather II, so I guess it wasn't terrible. After this, I went around the city and purchased every possible safe house. However, I wouldn't be able to get the achievement for unlocking all safe houses until I destroyed every compound, so I'd have to be content with owning 19 of the 24 total safe houses for now. Now it was time to rob some banks. Since I had already robbed one in Little Italy, I needed to rob the remaining 5 across the city in order to get the achievement.
Oh my God.
Another one down. There we go. Bank robber. That's for robbing every bank in the game. Those actually weren't too bad, especially when you get the keys to the armored truck. Easy getaway. A lot of the times there's a safe house right around the corner, so not bad at all. After this, I traveled back to the compound and met up with Michael, who was the new Don of the family. Here, Michael told me that I had been promoted to his right-hand man, otherwise known as his Capo regime. My first job as Michael's Capo was to meet up with Monk, who was looking into a rat in the family that was working with the FBI. And once I got to Little Italy, the mission called Order to Kill began. Here, Monk tells me that the FBI is in the hotel and that there's a member of the family snitching on the Corleones right now. So we quickly infiltrated the hotel, taking Barzini's out along the way until we made it to a room in which the FBI was in, and then this happened.
We had a deal, Malone.
You stinking traitor rat. Jesus Christ, Monk. Who is this guy?
He's the snitch. He's the one.
Monk.
Put your guns down. Both of you. This was our job.
Oh, yeah? Who pulled the trigger?
Come on, Jimmy. This ain't no quiz show. What's done is done, all right?
Who killed the agent? Was it you?
Nah, it was Monk. What do you mean, agent? I thought this guy was an informant.
He's a Fed.
You just killed a Fed. No, that's not good. Hey, that's me.
Agent here.
Oh. Monk's the informant. And after finding out Monk was the rat, we received a call from Michael. During the call, Michael tells me that I needed to kill Monk for the sake of the family. So I next quickly tracked down Monk to a nightclub where I confronted him and took him out, concluding the mission. After this, I returned back to the compound where Tom informed me that Tessio was setting Michael up and that the Barzinis were waiting to kill him at Tessio's place. So then Tom sent me to meet Willie Cece at Tessio's place, and after getting there, the mission called Its Only Business began. Once meeting up with Willie, finally, we decided to use Tessio's meeting with the Barzinis as a way to take out Tessio for good. So after walking in, Tessio made a run for it, but we caught up to him quite easily and I killed him in a pretty brutal style. After this, I met up with Michael and his brother Fredo in a hotel in Midtown to begin the mission called a Royal Flush. Here we learned that former business partner and Las Vegas casino mogul, Mo Green, had gotten in the way of Michael's ambitions in the Sin City. So of course we needed to take Mo out next. But before whacking Mo, we needed to make a statement by robbing one of his underground casinos. After learning the secret password, we infiltrated the casino and robbed the vault. Next, I found Mo in a spa and took him out for good. After this, I traveled back to Midtown and informed Clemenza that the job was complete, which ended the mission. Now, only one mission remained. Following Mo's assassination, Clemenza told me that Michael needed me at his child's baptism, so that's where I headed next. After getting to the church, Michael informs me that this mission would set the course for all 5 families' future. However, this is as much as he would say and sent me to meet Clemenza in a flower shop. I soon realized that this was more than just a regular job, and that it was time to assassinate the heads of the 4 rival families. First was Don Strachey. Here, Strachey thought I was meeting him to escort him to a gathering with the Corleones. However, he was in for a surprise. After taking out Strachey, it was time to kill Cuneo, whom Willie and I ambushed in a hotel lobby. Next, it was time to kill Don Tattaglia, who we found caught in the act in a hotel room. Lastly, it was time to kill Barzini, the same man who killed my father when I was a child. Pop him. Oh, this is the dude who killed his mom, or his dad.
I knew it. I knew it would be you.
Shotgun. No. After this, I needed to outrun the cops, and once I did, I returned to the baptism in Little Italy and informed Michael that the job was done, completing the mission and earning the achievement called for the family for completing all missions. However, this was not the end of the game, as Michael summoned me at the compound for one last meeting. Here, I was promoted to underboss. Now it was time to clean up the rest of the city. First, I decided to complete all hits and favors, and after completing the final few favors, I earned an achievement for completing all favors. Service provider, is that for doing all the favors? I think so. After completing the final favor, I also reached respect level 40, which got me the achievement demanding respect. Next, I continued completing hits, all of which were pretty similar. Besides the last one, that one was actually pretty difficult. He's like locked behind a wall. What is that? There's nothing I can do. What do you mean? I'm gonna die. What do you... But finally, after completing this final hit, I got the achievement. Yeah. You're dead. That was so annoying. Contract killer, that was the final one. About time. I hated those. Those were, again, so annoying. Now, for the next few hours, I went around the city, attempting to flip all businesses, rackets, and fronts, going in order of families, with the first being the Cuneos. So after flipping all of their fronts, I destroyed their compound and took control of Hell's Kitchen. Next, I went on to do the same with the Strachey family, and after taking out their fronts, I destroyed their compound and took control of New Jersey. While the Cuneos and Stracheys were pretty easy to take down, the Barzinis were a whole different animal, as their men were much more powerful. But like the other families, I slowly flipped all of their businesses, and once all were extorted, I got the achievement Total Domination. After extorting all businesses, I reached respect level 45, which got me the achievement called Jack of All Trades. While extorting these businesses, some owners asked for favors, and after completing all favors, I got the achievement called Diplomat. After this, I extorted the remaining fronts and got the achievement Frontman. Next, I seized all warehouses and transport hubs, which got me 2 more achievements. Before going to destroy the Barzini compound, I made sure that I had destroyed all safes in each of the businesses, and I seemingly somehow missed a few during my playthrough. So I went back, collected the remaining saves, and made my way to the Barzini compound. Like I said earlier, the Barzinis were pretty tough, and there were a few close calls while attempting to destroy the compound. Oh, but no! This is so stressful. But in the compound, I found the final safe, which got me an achievement. This should be the last safe now. Yes. Safe cracker. Cracked all safes. And after finally destroying the compound, I got a few achievements, the first called Rival Family Elimination for destroying all rival compounds, as well as Real Estate Mogul for owning all safe houses. Next, I made my way back to the compound where a short cutscene occurred.
Oh, that's me! I thought that was Michael for a second. I'm the Don, I think. Yeah, that's Aura.
Here, I was promoted to Don of the Corleone family, which netted me the achievement called Don for reaching Don rank. Since I had done literally everything else in the game before this, I was next told to go to a hotel where another cutscene occurred and I got my next achievement.
I'm genuinely not sure what this is. That's Aura. I'm overlooking the city like I'm Batman. I got all my men, they're all just staring at me. Kissing my hand. I'm really him. I'm really that guy. Or you could say I am the Don of NYC, which I think this is what that is. Or an achievement for literally doing everything. Am I right? I like how these two cutscenes have had no dialogue. Yes, Don of NYC. Congratulations on your promotion to Don of NYC. Look at all the respect. Look at the money. I got a mill. Promotion benefits with this promotion. Your firearms all carry infinite ammo. Why couldn't I have that before? Wow. That's an achievement for reaching the Dawn of NYC. I like, again, the two cutscenes had no dialogue whatsoever. That's kind of hilarious.
Now all that was left was to collect the 100 film reels scattered across the map, as well as to reach respect level 50. So after following a guide, I collected 10 film reels, which got me the achievement called Entrepreneur. After this, I spent the next few hours collecting the remaining 90 to get another achievement.
Should be the last one here. Oh my god, so tedious. Here we go. Pet collector. Collect all 100 film reels.
Now all I needed to do was reach respect level 50 to complete the base section of Godfather 1. But this was easier said than done, and I mean way easier said than done. Since I had literally completed everything there is to do in the game, there wasn't much XP left to be earned, and after searching many forums, it seemed like the only effective and timely method to earn enough XP to get to level 50 was to kill a random hobo in a junkyard, which would net me 5k XP per kill. Thankfully, the hobo would respawn after every time I died, so for the next 3.5 hours straight, I killed the hobo, blew myself up, and repeated. Yeah, this was not a fun way to end the base game. But finally, after hours of XP farming, I finally reached respect level 50 and earned the final achievement of the base game after more than 11 years of first playing.
I'm sick of this dude. Yes. Public enemy number 1. Thank God. That was awful. That shit took way too long. I've been doing this for the last like 4 hours. Constantly spawn killing this dude, dying, doing it over and over again. That's it for the base game. I've done it finally after all these years. Public enemy number 1 reached level 50. Holy.
Now it was time for the only available DLC, which was part of the title update. This DLC consisted of 10 challenges that needed to be complete in a timely fashion. The first challenge I tried required me to kill 50 Tattaglias in less than 20 minutes, and given that I had infinite ammo and could die as many times as I needed, this was easily done in just 4 minutes.
Very easy. Corleone challenge, Tattaglia. It only took 4 minutes, so pretty quick.
Next, I had to kill 100 mobsters in under 20 minutes, and like the first challenge, this was a piece of cake.
Alright, this should get me another achievement. There we go. CC hits, no innocence. That's for, you know, like 100 people.
For the next challenge, I needed to kill 30 mobsters in less than 15 minutes, only using melee weapons.
You ain't shit. Let's
30. CC batter up. Kind of difficult just because, I mean, they kept on breaking, but not too bad.
Next, I needed to run over 25 mobsters with my car in under 20 minutes, and this again wasn't bad at all.
One more. Alright, should give me another one. DC Road Rage. That's for killing 25 plus mobsters with a car.
The next challenge may have been the easiest of them all, as all I needed to do was perform 10 unique executions in under 10 minutes.
Next one should pop here. AC executions. That's for killing really N people with N different executions. Very easy.
After this, the next challenge required me to hijack 5 racket trucks in under 20 minutes. While this was way more than enough time, I found this easily done by camping and riding around outside of the Corleone compound and delivering the trucks in only a few seconds. It seemed like a truck would respawn in that area every few seconds.
Another one down. DC hijack. That's for hijacking 5 trucks in under 20 minutes, which is not a lot.
The next challenge required me to take down a warehouse in less than 5 minutes, and this was honestly super easy again, and I was able to complete the challenge with just under 2 minutes remaining.
You're one of the Corleone?
Don Corleone wants to buy you out. Just enough for your retirement?
That's a generous offer, I accept. But you better keep an eye on things, okay?
Was that a minute and a half? DC takedown. Again, so easy. Again, I think I did it in a minute and a half. 2 minutes, actually.
After this, the next challenge required me to extort 20 merchants and or racket bosses in under 20 minutes, and this wasn't nearly as bad as it seems on paper, as I found a bunch of fronts in close proximity across Little Italy.
Don Corleone wants to buy you out. Just enough for your
I
retirement?
think that's just it.
That's a generous offer, I accept. But you better keep an eye on things, okay?
20. All right, another one down. DC collecting dues. That's for extorting 20 merchants or brackets in under 20 minutes, which again, not too bad.
Now only 2 challenges remained. The first of the 2 required me to earn $75,000 in 20 minutes, and surprisingly this was the hardest challenge for me, as I did have an untimely death.
That killed me?
But essentially my strategy was to rob all the banks in order to collect the 75k, and even though this was a close call, I managed to complete the challenge.
20k, come on. I don't think that's gonna be enough. Move! He's an idiot. There needs to be a safe up here. There is. Perfect. It should give me 1,000. No, not good, bro. This is hard. It's gonna be close. I did it. This one was kind of hard. A little stressed towards the end. DC earned money. That's for getting 75k or more in less than 20 minutes. Again, kind of stressful. I died in a bank heist, didn't have dynamite. Everything went wrong, but I was able to do it.
Now for the final challenge and achievement in this video. I had to crack 10 safes in 20 minutes. And like the challenge in which I had to extort 20 businesses, I found 10 businesses close together, cracked the saves, and waited for time to run out, earning me the final attainable achievement in the Godfather of the game.
Here we go, the 10th one. All right, the final 5 seconds of Godfather. 100%. CC safe cracker. That's for unlocking 10 safes in under 20 minutes, which is a lot of time to only crack 10 safes. Nonetheless, that is the final achievement in the Godfather 100%. Like I said, unfortunately, there are 10 more achievements. However, I don't have access to the Corleone Challenge DLC, so this is good as this 100% is getting. The Godfather the game is one of my favorite games of all time. For some reason, I absolutely love the grind of going business to business and building an empire for myself. Given that this game was made in 2006, I was very impressed by all the mechanics that were included throughout. The map was pretty large and the story was quite long, which made my playthrough an immersive experience. I love the Godfather film, so going back and seeing how the game compares to the movie was pretty awesome. As for the achievements, this game really had it all. From level up achievements to collectible and completion achievements, I really had no complaints. Like I said in the intro, this is really the only Godfather achievement hunting video on YouTube, so I can't recommend playing it enough if you haven't. Hopefully you guys enjoyed as much as I did, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
and I'll see you next week for a brand new achievement or trophy hunting video.